Have you ever tried drawing or writing something with your opposite hand? It's super difficult, and in this video, I'm gonna try and draw an entire fantasy world map using my left hand. Usually I use my right hand. So my hope with this video is to show you that even if you've never drawn anything in your life, if you take just a little bit of time, you can still draw a really cool looking map. I think in the end I get there, but the journey is definitely a learning experience. When I had the idea for this video, I thought, oh, it won't be that hard to draw a map with my left hand. I'm a professional illustrator that's drawn tons and tons of maps, but when I sat down and started by just trying to write the alphabet, I was shocked at how difficult it was. But I really should have known. It's like riding switch on a skateboard or throwing a ball left-handed. You know how it's supposed to go in your brain because you've done it a bunch the regular way, but when you actually do it left-handed, switch, whatever, it comes out totally different. So now it's time to jump into actually drawing this map, and because I wasn't super confident, I'm not trying to draw a specific map here, just a typical fantasy one, some mountains and forests, some interesting towns and dungeons, the standard fantasy stuff, right? But what I quickly noticed is that just drawing straight lines is really difficult. And drawing curved lines is really difficult too, and short lines and long lines, and just getting lines to go where you want them to go is stinking difficult. Even just sketching out this map, I can really see how drawing for beginners might feel frustrating. But let me tell you something. Even over the short 10 minutes it took me to plan out this map, I could feel myself improving. I learned that I needed to slow down, and that if I start by really thinking about what I was trying to draw and then drawing it, it turned out much better. Really, it's all about slowing down. In a lot of these videos I make, and a lot of the drawings I do, I like to say how long something takes me as an encouraging step, like, hey, you can sit down and draw this thing and it only takes a few minutes. But what I'm realizing in this sketching process is that I'm kind of forced to slow down, and it is taking a little bit longer than it usually would. But that's not a bad thing. You know, it's not taking me twice as long. I'm just having to slow down and think about things a little more than I typically do. And that's because I feel like I'm kind of relearning how to draw, because I am relearning how to draw with my left hand. With all that in mind and my map planned out, now let's jump back into the deep end and start inking this map. Now I'm drawing this map on a piece of smooth Bristol board, and I'll be using these micron pins in a variety of sizes. The nice thing about these pins is that they create a smooth, uniform line. I like to think they're easier to draw with, but I don't know. I think especially in this case, trying to draw with my left hand, the pen doesn't really matter. Whatever works for you. Either way, I'll have links to all the tools I'm using down in the description. So I'm using the size 0.5 micron for most of the map, just because it felt like the right size to get the level of detail I'm looking for at the scale of this map. Later, I'll use a size 8 and a size 12 for the coastline, but mostly I'm sticking to this size 0.5. Immediately, I am loving this experience. I feel like I'm a beginner again, learning how to ink a drawing. I'm figuring out how to hold the pen, how much pressure I should use, just getting the feel for how it all works, right? The great thing about being a beginner is that you can really feel yourself getting better rather quickly. I can actually feel the progress I'm making inking this map. Now, of course, that doesn't mean I'm going to be cranking out left-handed maps like I would with my right hand by the end of this. I am moving way slower, and the lines are jumping and skipping all over the place, especially when I start and stop the lines. Drawing these repeating icons consistently is tricky. Like drawing these trees, these little bubbly trees, is really tough, man. Like, it's just kind of hard to hold the pen and keep it steady in the position of drawing these little bubbly arcs. But it's cool because at the same time, I'm relearning some of the kind of rules of inking that I now take for granted. For me, it's much easier to draw a straight line if I pull it down from top to bottom than if I go from side to side. And this is the kind of thing you figure out through practice. And this is an easy one that you can even try out right now. So if you grab a sheet of paper and you put it so the bottom edge lines up with the edge of the table, just try drawing a line all the way from the top of the page to the bottom, and then try drawing one from one side to the other and see what feels more comfortable and which line looks straighter. Practice drawing lines in that direction over and over, and it'll eventually become just kind of habit that you always pull a line in that direction. Of course, there's other things I'm realizing too, like I've gotten used to inking a drawing moving from the top left of the page kind of towards the right and down. That way I'm not smudging anything with my hand, but that doesn't really work when I'm inking left-handed. I guess it's best to go from the top right and then left and down. I don't really know. All I know is that I feel bad for left-handed people that have to write in a spiral-bound notebook or a 3-ring binder. That's got to be really tough. The easy part about all of this is that I already know how to draw each of the little icons that are going on this map. I've made enough maps, drawn enough mountains and little town icons that it is sort of like writing the alphabet for me. I just know the shapes to create those little icons, right? Obviously, none of the drawings on this map are too difficult to draw, but it's still, if that's a sticking point for you, I have lots of videos on this channel about how to draw maps and all of the icons, and I've even made some fun guidebooks that'll help too. Flick Silverpen's Guide to Making Maps and Making Maps More Fantastical are great places to start for illustrating this kind of fantasy world map. They're just filled with instructions on how to draw each of these different types of icons, step-by-step instructions that makes it really easy. Both of the guides are available digitally when you join my Patreon, or if you want the physical version, the physical zines, you can get them from my online shop, both linked in the description. But anyway, the real reason I wanted to try making this map with my non-dominant hand is to show that even without any drawing experience, you can make a cool looking map. I know that drawing can be frustrating when what you have in your head isn't the same as what's coming out of your hand, but the practice of drawing is also really fun and extremely rewarding. Look at how cool this is. In just a little bit of time, I've created a fantasy world from a blank sheet of paper. And doing this drawing left-handed, I've felt myself getting better. Like, I'm more confident now drawing left-handed than I was just at the beginning of this map. As I'm looking at how this map is turning out, I'm really struck by how similar it looks to the normal maps that I draw with my right hand. Of course, if I look closely, it looks a little wobbly, a little shaky. The line work isn't as confident, and there are a few spots here and there that I would probably go back and fix up with some whiteout or something. But if I'm being honest, I would not be ashamed at all to throw this down on the table for a D&D game or share this little world that I created on social media. Really, I hope this video has encouraged you to give making fantasy maps a shot. I just can't say enough how fun it is to make fantasy maps. I say it all the time, but it really is a super fun way to make a cool looking drawing without needing to be a super skilled illustrator. And I hope you give it a shot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!